I always thought I was doing okay as a dad. Not perfect, obviously. I mean, who is? But I showed up. I made her breakfast every school morning until she learned how to make her own pancakes. I sat through every freezing cold soccer game, every awkward school play. I stayed up late helping with science projects I didn't understand. You do those things because you love your kid, not because you're expecting applause. But I guess deep down, I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd see me for the kind of dad I tried to be. Then her sweet 16 happened. Now, let me set the stage for you. My daughter, Madison, she's always had a taste for the dramatic. She gets that from her mom, no doubt. Big parties, attention, a little bit of sparkle everywhere she goes. Me? I'm more of a fix the squeaky cabinet and call it a day kind of guy. But for her birthday, I went all in. Rented a venue. Hired a DJ. Even got those LED lights she kept showing me on TikTok. I'm a single dad, divorced 5 years now, and money doesn't exactly grow on trees. I worked overtime at the shop for 3 straight months to afford it all. No vacations, no weekend beers, just saving and fixing carburetors. The big surprise, though? I bought her the car she'd been dreaming about since she was 12, a cherry red 2011 Mini Cooper. Not brand new, but I detailed it myself. Fixed up the engine, cleaned the upholstery. That thing sparkled like it just rolled off a showroom floor. I even wrapped the keys in a little velvet box. I kept the car parked a block away, waiting for the perfect moment. The night of the party, everything went according to plan. The music was loud, kids were dancing. The cake was ridiculous. 3 tiers with gold fondant and edible glitter. Madison looked like a princess. And seeing her smile, for a while, made all the stress feel worth it. Then came the moment. She got up to give a little speech. You know, the kind teenagers do to thank their friends and family for coming. She started off sweet. Thanked her mom for the dress. Thanked her friends for always being there. Then she paused, looked toward me in the back. Me, still in my oil-stained jeans because I came straight from work, and said, and of course, a big shout out to my dad, who, she giggled, is basically a loser with a toolbox. The room laughed. I didn't. She grinned, proud of herself, like she'd just nailed the punchline. I just stood there, frozen. I smiled for her sake. But my insides? They twisted like someone had reached inside and yanked something loose. She moved on with the speech, like it was nothing. But to me, that one line was everything. It wasn't just a joke. It was a moment of truth. Maybe not her truth forever, but it was her truth right then. And that hurt more than I expected. After she was done, I slipped out the back, walked around the corner, where the Mini Cooper was waiting under a tarp. I leaned against the hood, stared up at the sky, and let myself feel it, really feel it. I wasn't mad. Not the explosive kind of mad, anyway. I was more hollow. Disappointed, sure. But mostly, I felt foolish. Like all those nights I worked late, all those times I picked her up from school in the rain, all the moments I thought I was being her rock, that they somehow didn't matter. Not to her. Not enough, anyway. I sat there for a long time, key in hand, velvet box unopened. I was supposed to drive it in, cue the DJ, hand her the box, and watch her scream with excitement. That was the plan. But suddenly, I didn't feel like following the plan. Eventually, I made a different call. I got in the Mini and drove it. Not to the venue, but to someone else's house. A girl named Elise. She's a senior at Madison School, works part-time at the hardware store with me. Sweet kid. Always polite. She'd mentioned once, shyly, that she loved Mini Coopers but could never afford one. Her dad passed away 2 years ago. She helps her mom pay bills and still manages to get straight A's. I knocked on her door around 9 p.m. Her mom answered, confused. I asked if I could talk to Elise. When she came to the door, I said, I have something for you. It was meant for someone else, but tonight I realized you might appreciate it more. I handed her the keys. She didn't believe me at first. Thought it was a joke. I told her it wasn't. That the car was hers. No strings. She cried. And I stood there, feeling more seen by that one thank you than I had at my own daughter's birthday. I didn't go back to the party. I figured they'd assume I left to grab something or sneak a smoke. Madison didn't call to ask where I went. Not that night. Not even the next morning. The following day, her mom called me, furious. Said Madison had found out about the car and was devastated. That I humiliated her. That it was her sweet 16 and I'd made it about me. I didn't argue. I just said, maybe next time she'll think twice before calling her dad a loser. Then I hung up. And that was the beginning of something I didn't expect, of a shift, deep and quiet, between me and my daughter. The Monday after the party, I sat at the shop, pretending to focus on a carburetor rebuild. But my hands were slower than usual. My mind kept circling back to that moment. Her standing up there, laughing, with her friends roaring around her, and me just standing in the back like a prop in someone else's joke. I didn't expect Elisa's car to solve anything. But I also didn't expect how quiet things would get afterward. 3 days passed before I heard from Madison. She didn't call, didn't text. Her mother did, though. A series of long voicemails, each one more guilt-laced than the last. The tone switched from anger to pleading, and eventually to something resembling understanding. She didn't mean it that way, her mom said. She was just trying to be funny. But here's the thing about jokes, they come from somewhere. And if that somewhere is a place where your dad is just a loser with a toolbox, well, I figured maybe it was time she sat with that for a bit. Later that week, I ran into Elise at work. She pulled me aside during lunch. I just wanted to say thank you again, she said. That car? I still can't believe it. My mom cried when I drove her to work in it. She hasn't smiled like that in a while. I nodded, not saying much. It was hard to explain what the car really meant, or didn't mean anymore. Then she added something that stuck with me. I hope she realizes what she lost. I didn't respond, but I thought about those words every time I passed by Madison's school or saw another dad hauling gear for his kid's sports team. A week later, Madison showed up at my place. I heard the knock around dinner time, 3 soft taps. I opened the door, and there she was, arms crossed, wearing the hoodie I bought her last Christmas, the one she said she didn't like. I heard you gave it to Elise, she said flatly. I nodded. Yep. She looked down, kicking at a crack in the porch. You didn't even tell me. I waited. You didn't ask. There was a long silence. Then she said, everyone was talking about it. At school. About how Elise is driving my car. Wasn't your car, I said. Not anymore. She looked up at me then, really looked. Her eyes were a little glassy, the way they used to get when she was 5, and trying not to cry after skinning her knee. She wasn't yelling, and that scared me more than if she had. I was just trying to be funny, she said. I know, I replied. But funny's not always harmless. She shifted her weight. So that's it. You're just done with me? No, I said quietly. But I'm done pretending things don't hurt just because you're a teenager and don't mean them. That hit her harder than I expected. She leaned against the railing, shoulders slumped. I didn't think it mattered to you. Well, it does, I said. You may not see me the way I wish you did. But I see you. Every day. Even when you roll your eyes, or call me old school, or don't pick up the phone. I still show up. I still care. That car? That was supposed to be a symbol. A bridge. But when you stood there and mocked me, I realized I built the bridge alone. She didn't say anything right away. Just nodded, slowly. Before she left, she looked back and said, I didn't mean to make you feel small. And I replied, you didn't. I just realized I can't make myself smaller anymore to keep the peace. She walked down the steps, got into her mom's car, and drove away. We didn't talk much for a while after that. But something shifted. A few months later, she invited me to a school fundraiser she was helping run. She introduced me to her friends. No toolbox jokes, no awkwardness. Just, this is my dad. He's a mechanic, and he's the reason I got to school on time every single day growing up. It wasn't an apology, but it was something. A gesture. These days, we're still rebuilding. She's older now, 17 going on 30. But every now and then, she'll swing by the shop, hand me a coffee, and say, need help? I always say yes. And even though she doesn't know half of what a carburetor does, we talk while I work. Not about the car, but about real things. Small things. The kind that used to pass between us without either of us noticing. And you know what? That's better than any dream car could have ever been. Because sometimes, the best gift you can give someone isn't what they want. It's what makes them stop, think, and grow.